Hey guys, and welcome to another Versus video. I'm Todd Anderson, joined today by Brian Brown doing.
Hello.
And today we're going to be playing Modern. Now, we don't know a lot of cards in Khans of Tarkir just yet, but we do know that they brought back fetch lands. Yeah, and now we actually have allied fetch lands to go with the enemy fetch lands for Modern, which actually should take a lot of pressure off of mana bases and allow people to actually play more basic lands in their deck, which is great for the format. I think it encourages more two-color decks, as well as just being able to fetch out basics and not have to take a million points of damage every single game. And I think it's just going to be an awesome addition.
Yeah, and I think it's probably going to spring new archetypes as well, which we haven't, nothing. I haven't really seen anyone talking about anything, but I have to imagine that new fetch lands are going to bring about new decks.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen with that. I do know that things like Pluto Delta are going to make fairies a little bit better.
Definitely.
It's going to make maybe Naya Zoo a little bit better because you're able to fetch out basics instead of just dealing yourself 12 points of damage a game with your lands or whatever. But enough of that. Brian's got one new fetch land in his deck, Windswept Heath, playing in Malira Pod.
Right.
We're not going to do a deck tech on that because you guys all know what Malira Pod does by now, I would hope.
And if not, you can go back and watch an earlier deck tech that we've done.
Or the 3 earlier deck tech, because we've done it a lot.
Yeah.
We've done a lot. But we are going to be doing deck tech today on my deck, which I will dub It's a Trap. So let's take a look. All right, so this is a deck that Jerry Thompson actually featured on his daily deck digest on the free side of StarCityGames.com. This deck looked really cool to me, and so I wanted to give it a try. It's kind of a hybrid between green-red Scapeshift and green-red, like, Through the Breach Summoning Trap, It kind of has I don't want to say the best of both worlds, but you are kind of hedging and you have two different game plans, which I really like. We don't have that many copies of Scapeshift because we're way more focused on Summoning Trap and Through the Breach, and the fact that Primeval Titan, if just left unchecked, will kill your opponent with Valakut, and you don't actually need to cast Scapeshift the card. And when you have two different cards that work well with Primeval Titan and Through the Breach and Summoning Trap, you take a lot of the pressure off needing Scapeshift to actually, one-shot kill your opponent. People, I think, at this point are prepared for Scapeshift. They have things like Cave and Mind Sensor, which that is pretty good against you, but it's less devastating than Primeval Titan because at least you get a 6/6 body with Trample attached to it. But my favorite part of this deck is that you get to play 4 copies of Emrakul the Aeon's Torn and just go ballistic. This deck has a lot of ramp spells with Sakura Tribe Elder, Search for Tomorrow, Farseek. We have a weird top-end spell in Huntmaster of the Fells, which I don't know if that's actually good in this deck or not. I feel like it puts a little bit of pressure on your opponent to deal with it. If they can't, it's a reasonable clock against some decks. Against black-green decks, it's a great threat if they're like thought seizing and making you discard, your early stuff. Having this to come down, put up some blockers, gain a few points of life to buy you enough time to set up either casting Primeval Titan or finding a combo Summoning Trap or Through the Breach with an Emrakul.
Huntmaster also gives your opponent an opportunity to counter a spell into a Summoning Trap too.
Yeah, if your opponent casts Remand on Huntmaster of the Fells, that does allow you to trigger Summoning Trap, as it were, and play it for free. Without enough creatures in your deck to, threaten the Summoning Trap, you're not really getting the full value out of it. 6 mana for a 15/15 is fine. I would much rather pay 0 mana for a 15/15 myself.
Yeah, on turn 3.
Yeah, turn 2 if they remand your
Tribe Elder.
Tribe Elder. But the mana base is pretty straightforward. We get to play Wooded Foothills instead of any other fetch land now. We got 8 fetches with 4 Stomping Grounds and 4 Valakuts, and then 9 mountains and 2 forests. I'm considering cutting a mountain for a forest, but I'm unsure how many times you would need to search up an extra mountain. How easy is it to run out of mountains? I don't know yet. But the more I play with the deck, the more I may find out. And if I never feel like I'm running out of mountains, and I always get 1 or 2 left in my deck, then I may cut one for a forest just so it's easier to cast these early spells. But there is a lot to be said about naturally drawing a mountain at the right time so that you can turn on your Valakut, since we're not so reliant on Scapeshift.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of games where you have just Valakuts in play, and you're just actually triggering them the normal way.
Yeah. I think that's the basic gist of this deck. But yeah, ramp spells, big guys. Let's do the sideboard, and then we'll get to fighting. So as you can imagine, a deck like this may have trouble with decks that are a little bit faster than you. decks like Splinter Twin, decks like Affinity, or even Birthing Pod sometimes if they have their like early nut combo draw. So I wanted to build this sideboard a little bit to hedge in certain matchups that I felt would be a little weaker. The original sideboard looked a little messy and also only was 13 cards, so we decided to clean up a little bit and give us some more options. I really like the combination of Combust and Spellskite, as well as the Nature's Claim against Splinter Twin decks. I love the one of Boil as just a surprise attack against the blue-white control decks. Since people are going to be fetching Steam Vents Hallowed Fountain, you do get to kill those as well. It doesn't just destroy basic islands, which is awesome.
Yeah.
A couple of Sowing Salts against Tron decks, but it's also great against Blue-White-Red if their main win condition is still Celestial Colonnade. There are a lot of those versions still running around, even though most have switched, I think, to Sean McLaren's Kiki Blue-White-Red deck that plays Restoration Angel and Kiki Jiki.
It's also really good against other shift decks.
Yeah, it's great if you hit their Valakut or if you hit their Stomping Ground. Sometimes they just cut them off of green mana. But yeah, we have 3 Ancient Grudge and a Nature's Claim to come in against Affinity, as well as 3 Anger of the Gods that are great against Affinity, but also come in against Birthing Pod, which we'll be playing against today.
Yep.
This card is a saving grace for any sort of mid-range deck that doesn't have that many creatures in it. I love this card out of things like Rug Twin. I love it in regular Blue-Red Twin. All the Scapeshift decks. It's just a fantastic card. And then finally, we have 2 Relic of Progenitus to help grind out opposing Tarmogoyfs, as well as just prevent us from losing to the all-in Goryo's Vengeance deck. Well, guys, that is... It's a trap. I guess that's what I'm going to call it. I don't know. But yeah, just watch the video and have some fun, because I know I am.
And I know I'm not.